They walk up to him. Whatever they asked him, Z the Wizard stole off one of them. Next thing you know, they start fighting. Dude that was with the suspect, he pull out a blick, start shooting at the whole club.
The viral clip that's blowing up everywhere shows BigXThaPlug and his homie Zai, the Wizard, caught in a wild situation at a Dallas club on New Year's Day 2026. Reports claim something went down between the two, and now that footage has everyone talking nonstop. Zai the Wizard, who had just signed with Future's Free Band's label, ended up seriously hurt and had to be rushed for help. The whole scene at the Pink House Dallas turned chaotic that night, and 5 people were reportedly caught up in the madness. Let's break down exactly how everything spiraled out of control and why this clip is flooding everyone's feed.
The Wiz one of the ones, you know what I'm saying? He didn't get to talk. My nigga Wiz one of the ones. One of the ones. Versatile.
The Pink House Dallas was hosting its grand opening on New Year's Eve 2025, and it was supposed to be the hottest spot in the city. This late-night venue near Empire Central and North Stemmons Freeway had lined up a solid lineup of local talent for what was meant to be an unforgettable celebration.
That was him on the floor.
I think the last thing you hear him say is that was him.
2 of the biggest names in the building that night were BigXThaPlug and Z the Wizard, both making major noise in the Texas music scene. BigXThaPlug, real name Xavier Landam, had been grinding for the past 2 years, earning his spot as one of the coldest artists to come out of Texas rap. His hit Texas went gold and racked up over 330 million streams. By late 2025, he was even crossing genres, collaborating with country stars like Luke Combs, Jelly Roll, and Bailey Zimmerman on his album, I Hope You're Happy. A mix of Southern trap energy and Nashville vibes, BigX had officially become the face of Dallas music. Meanwhile, Z the Wizard, born Zach Curry Cannon Grant Fields, was a 25-year-old from Oak Cliff, South Dallas, a place where you've got to stay sharp to make it out. After a sports injury cut short his athletic dreams, he threw himself into music and dropped his first tracks in late 2024. Projects like Hood Prophet and bangers like Boss Nay, 4 for 4, and Chevy showed off his grind and message about coming up from nothing. By summer 2025, the Dallas Observer listed him as one of the top 20 artists to watch in DFW. In August 2025, Z the Wizard officially signed with Future's Free Band's label. A massive deal that had everyone saying he was about to level up from local fame to mainstream stardom.
They walk up to him. Whatever they asked him, Z the Wizard stole off one of them. Next thing you know, they start fighting. Dude that was with the suspect, he pull out a blick, start shooting at the whole club.
He'd already earned cosigns from big names like G Herbo and Rod Wave, and even Mo3's manager Rainwater said he was incredibly talented with the potential to take over the streets. Z was clearly on his way to the top before things took a tragic turn that night. Both BigX and Zai were part of what Dallas heads called the New Dallas Movement. This was a new wave of young artists trying to flip the old script, pushing for unity instead of tension between different hoods. The crew had rising names like Zillionaire, Do Montana, 700, and Timothy Chung, all from different neighborhoods that didn't always see eye to eye. Wiggs 1-to-1 was another artist in the mix, known for his versatility and consistent grind. The vision behind New Dallas was solid. Instead of clashing, these artists supported each other. They'd pull up to each other's shows, promote each other's tracks, and move like one team. It was their way of breaking away from the drama that once tore apart Dallas's old rap scene. Back in the day, that scene took some heavy hits, especially after Mo3's loss in 2020 and Yellow Beezy getting tangled up in serious legal trouble. The New Dallas squad was supposed to represent something different: loyalty, growth, and peace through music. But that night at the Pink House proved how fast things can still go left in the spotlight. The whole scene was split in half that night. On New Year's Eve, Z the Wizard was booked to perform at the Pink House Dallas for the grand opening, and the energy was electric. According to his crew, he tore up the stage just before midnight, giving a show that had the whole crowd, including his own family, hyped up and proud. After he wrapped up his set, his family decided to head out, but Zai the Wizard stayed behind to keep celebrating with BigXThaPlug and the rest of the squad. The vibe in that club was pure celebration. Laughter, music, and everyone turning up together. Clips from earlier that night showed both rappers having a blast, Wizard tossing cash in the air while the crowd went crazy, and BigXThaPlug chilling in his section surrounded by bottles and people dancing. By all accounts, it was one of those unforgettable nights that felt like a movie. Then, around 3:45 a.m. on January 1st, 2026, everything suddenly flipped. Dallas police started getting calls about chaos breaking out in the parking lot. When officers arrived, the place had already cleared out, but the aftermath told the story. Something serious had gone down outside that club. 5 people were reportedly hurt, and one of them was Zai the Wizard.
Crossfire, then I heard he got into an altercation. He was arguing with some guys. 4 of his friends got guns from the car, 2 pistols and 2 ARs.
Family members later told local news outlet WFAA that Z had been badly injured and was rushed to the hospital, where doctors listed him in critical condition. The clip that took over the internet came from those exact moments right after it happened. In the video, you can see BigXThaPlug standing outside, clearly shaken, trying to make sense of what had just gone down with his close friend. He was wearing an orange jacket, leaning against a car in that pink glowing parking lot, his voice cracking as he said what everyone would replay millions of times. They got Z in the head? The shock on his face said everything. That moment became the image the whole world couldn't stop watching. Even though Big X wasn't physically hurt, his reaction hit everyone hard. The disbelief, the pain, the pure confusion.
That was multiple times. Then I don't think that story makes sense. Then they said it was his homie. It was like friendly fire, but that story don't really make sense if he got hit multiple times.
It all painted a picture of how real and raw the situation was. That moment defined the story as it went viral across every platform within hours. But then things got even messier. Within hours, social media exploded with wild rumors. People online started posting that Z the Wizard had passed away, and before any official confirmation came out, the internet had already declared it fact. By the morning of January 1st, 2026, timelines were flooded with RIP Z the Wizard posts, fan tributes, and emotional clips, even though he was still fighting for his life at that very moment. The chaos spread, just like it always does online. Fast and unchecked. One person posted something unverified, and the rest just ran with it without checking any facts.
When 4 people get shot outside of your club and one person is hit in the head and in critical condition, I think it's a little bit
Tweaking.
off-putting
To be putting that shit on
post to Instagram how much money the club made.
Blog pages and hip-hop sites started picking up the rumors, pushing stories based on tweets instead of truth. It became a digital storm of misinformation. And in the middle of it all, a young artist's real struggle was being turned into online gossip before the facts were even clear. The chaos that followed was unbelievable. A wave of false reports took over social media, forcing Z the Wizard's family to fight misinformation while dealing with the heartbreaking reality that their loved one was on life support. Imagine going through that, trying to hold on to hope while the internet keeps spreading lies about your people. Montana 700, one of Z's closest friends and a key member of the new Dallas squad, was one of the first to step up and call out the fake news. He jumped on his Instagram story to thank everyone for their love and support, but made sure to set the record straight, loud and clear. His message was crystal. Z the Wizard ain't gone. He's on life support, still fighting. But even with that truth out there, the damage from all those early false reports had already hit hard. Most people who saw the first post claiming he'd passed never saw the corrections. By January 3rd, 2026, local news station WFAA confirmed that Z the Wizard was still alive and being treated at the hospital, with his family staying hopeful and asking for prayers and privacy. Things at the hospital were getting more complicated by the hour. Dallas PD had to post up extra security around the area because crowds of fans started pulling up, trying to show love in person. Some of them had never even met Zai before, but they wanted to be close to the scene. The family later said that even extended relatives couldn't get in to see him because of strict safety rules and the ongoing investigation. The family told reporters they appreciated the Dallas police for stepping in, not just to protect Z, but to help the hospital staff focus on doing their jobs without all the noise and commotion. Hemo Chung, another artist from the new Dallas movement and one of Z's tightest friends, posted on Instagram asking fans to chill and stop crowding the hospital. His message was straight to the point. Let the doctors work, let the family breathe, and stop spreading stories you can't verify. That summed up exactly how everyone in Z's circle was feeling. The internet had gotten out of control. The whole situation exposed just how wild social media gets when chaos hits.
Thank you to everyone. We appreciate you all the love y'all got for Z. There has been misinformation floating around. As of now, Z is still fighting, praying that he bounces back and on full recovery.
People react off emotion before the facts even drop, and rumors move faster than real news. The same platforms that helped Zai the Wizard blow up as an artist were now spreading unverified claims about his condition. His family didn't even have time to process what happened before the internet turned his tragedy into content. Sadly, this wasn't the first time it went down like that. We've seen it before with other artists, other incidents, and other lives caught in the storm of online speculation. But the speed this story moved was next level. It went from incident at a Dallas club to rising rapper gone in a matter of hours. Once social media ran with the headline, the narrative was locked in before the truth even had a chance. Many people online started pointing out the sad irony. So many new fans were just now discovering Z the Wizard's music because of what happened. His name started trending, his streams spiked, and his tracks got added to playlists across platforms. But for his family, that attention hit different. It came at the worst possible time and for the worst possible reason.
That's where your first fights happen. That's where your first haters come from. That's where you're gonna fail the most and succeed the most, but also at the same time, that's where you're gonna be overly hated.
They weren't celebrating streams or trends. They were just trying to keep him alive while fighting a second battle online to keep the facts straight. Every few hours brought new rumors, new posts, and new confusion. And the family had to keep jumping back online to correct the record again and again. As of the days right after the incident, only immediate family members were being allowed inside Z the Wizard's hospital room, a quiet space where the real fight for his life was still going on while the internet kept spinning its own story. Just hours before, Z the Wizard had been lighting up the stage, tossing cash, hyping the crowd, and performing for fans that included his own family. Now that same rapper was lying in a hospital bed, surrounded only by his closest people, while thousands of strangers online argued about whether he was still alive. The confusion around his condition dragged on for days, but through all the noise, his family never wavered.
Conversation for the artist is find your why. Why are you rapping? Why are you making music? Is it just to be heard? Is it to make a better life?
Their message stayed strong and clear. Z the Wizard was still fighting. He wasn't gone. And they needed everyone to respect that truth, even when the internet seemed determined to write him off too early. When it came to what actually went down inside and outside the Pink House Dallas during those early hours of January 1st, 2026, the story was messy. The details were foggy, full of half-truths and rumors, but the official word from police painted only part of the picture. According to the Dallas Police Department, officers pulled up around 3:45 a.m. after getting reports of chaos in the parking lot. By the time they got there, the scene was already cleared out, leaving behind nothing but confusion and evidence that something serious had happened. 5 people were confirmed hurt, and one of them, Z the Wizard, was in critical condition. Police said everything started from some kind of altercation, but they didn't share what it was about.
If you won't use your celebrity to, take the revenue and the income and change your address and to help your grandmother and your mother and your children and so forth and so on, then what are you doing?
Who was involved or what exactly sparked the conflict? They didn't release any names, didn't confirm whether anyone was targeted, and gave no motive. Basically, the streets were left to fill in the blanks themselves, and that's exactly what happened online. Eyewitness stories started popping up everywhere. TikTok clips, YouTube breakdowns, and social media posts, all trying to piece the night together. According to some of those accounts, things started when a group of people approached Z the Wizard. Words were exchanged, and the situation quickly turned physical. Some claimed punches were thrown first, others said it was all verbal until someone escalated things. Then, according to several stories floating around, someone allegedly pulled out a weapon and chaos erupted, but none of these accounts fully matched. Everyone's version had different details. Some said Z the Wizard was the one who tried to defend himself first. Others said he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time when things went off. Another story claimed that the people who started the fight ran back to their car, grabbed something dangerous, and came back to the scene to cause more chaos. There were even rumors that someone from Z's own crew might have accidentally hit him while trying to protect him, though most people quickly pushed back on that theory, saying the facts didn't add up since he was reportedly struck multiple times. With so many versions of the same story spinning online, nobody knew what to believe, and that's what made the situation even worse. The venue itself, the Pink House Dallas, suddenly found itself at the center of controversy. The spot had literally just opened that night. New Year's Eve 2025 was its grand debut. What was supposed to be a huge celebration for Dallas nightlife instantly turned into a headline-grabbing tragedy. The timing couldn't have been worse. A brand new business starting its run with flashing police lights and a taped-off parking lot. People immediately started questioning the club's security setup. How did things escalate that far inside or near the building? How did any kind of weapon even make it into the space or stay close enough to be used? Who was running security checks at the door? Were people even getting properly searched? And what was the plan when tension started heating up? None of that seemed clear. Then came the backlash on social media. The club's own Instagram became part of the storm. Instead of posting statements or showing concern, they shared a post bragging about how much money their dancers made that night, celebrating their bag, while one of the performer's close friends was fighting for his life in a hospital bed. That move did not sit right with people. Everybody online called that move mad disrespectful. Fans were furious that the Pink House posted about their profits while Z the Wizard was still fighting for his life. The tone was just way off. People felt like it showed zero respect for what had just happened that night. Meanwhile, BigX. The plug's name was also all over the conversation. Multiple people confirmed he was in the building when everything broke loose. According to one detailed breakdown, as soon as things got chaotic, he ducked behind the bar for cover. The bartender reportedly told him to stay low and not move until it was safe, and that's exactly what he did. Staying down until someone gave him the all clear. That footage and those witness stories had everyone online debating whether BigX might have actually been the real target that night. His name was buzzing way louder than Z the Wizard's. So, if someone wanted to make a statement, going after the biggest name in the room would have made sense from a street perspective. But, as police later clarified, that was all just speculation. No solid evidence confirmed that either rapper had been specifically targeted, and law enforcement didn't make any public statements to support that theory either. What was clear from the facts was that the whole thing was chaos. Multiple people got caught in the mix within minutes. The suspects dipped out before the cops even arrived, and the most seriously injured person was a 25-year-old rising artist who was supposed to be celebrating the start of his breakout year. Now here's where things get deep, because what happened at the Pink House didn't come out of nowhere. This all went down in a city that's been battling its own demons when it comes to hip-hop. Dallas has one of the most talented rap scenes in the South, but it's also seen way too much violence tied to its music culture. It's a city full of stars who never got the chance to fully shine because the streets kept pulling them back down. Mo3 was one of the biggest examples. A Dallas legend known for hits like Outside and his collaboration project with Boozy Badass. His tragic death in November 2020 shook the entire city. He was ambushed in broad daylight on the highway, and the case made national headlines. Then came Yellow Beezy, another major name in Dallas who had once been cool with Mo3, but later got linked to serious allegations tied to that same case. By 2025, he was facing heavy charges connected to Mo3's passing, and that drama completely tore apart what used to be one of the city's strongest musical alliances. The tension between their camps split Dallas down the middle. Artists had to pick sides, and the city's music community was drowning in beef instead of building unity. That's exactly why the New Dallas movement was born. A new wave of young rappers who wanted to move differently. They were tired of seeing talent get wasted over street drama and wanted to prove that Dallas artists could stand together, collaborate, and rise up as one instead of tearing each other down. Z the Wizard was one of the faces of that whole movement, along with names like Zillionaire Doe, Montana 700, and a few others who were pushing the same message of unity. These weren't artists who all came from the same place either. They represented different neighborhoods across the city like Fort Deuce, Woodtown, and Pleasant Grove. Some of these areas had been at odds for years, but the message behind New Dallas was simple and powerful. Leave all that old beef in the past. One artist even said in an interview, "My neighborhood and his neighborhood grew up beefing with each other. You know what I'm saying? My pops and his OG been at it for years, man, but we run together now." That quote summed up exactly what the movement was about. Breaking old cycles and proving that unity could actually work. Still, not everyone was convinced. Skeptics kept saying Dallas would never fully move past its old habits. They pointed to the city's long history of division, hood pride, and deep-rooted rivalries that too often turned deadly. Online discussions compared Dallas to other music hubs like Houston, Atlanta, and the Bay Area, cities where rappers from different backgrounds and neighborhoods have managed to work together and grow without the same level of constant internal tension. Music executive Torrance Burnett spoke with WFAA after the chaos, and what he said hit deep for a lot of people. He talked about what this kind of violence really means for Dallas artists and for hip-hop as a whole. Burnett raised the question that's haunted rap culture for decades. Why do we expect rappers to actually live out everything they rap about? Actors play gangsters, cops, doctors, or villains, but nobody expects them to actually live those lives off screen. Yet in hip-hop, that demand for authenticity is so heavy that artists sometimes feel trapped between success and survival. For a lot of rappers, proving they're real can come at a dangerous cost. They feel pressure to stay connected to the same streets they once came from, even when those streets can turn against them in a heartbeat. Burnett's words hit especially hard when you think about Z the Wizard, because by every account, he wasn't about reckless energy or chasing street beefs. His music focused on the grind, the come up, the hustle, the mindset of turning struggle into something better. People who knew Z personally said he was hands-on in his community, coaching kids in sports, mentoring up-and-coming talent, and using his story to inspire younger artists to stay focused. Everyone around him described him as someone who rose through talent and discipline, not through conflict or beef. But the truth is, the streets don't care about good intentions. A club crowd doesn't check your lyrics or your past before deciding who they got a problem with. Sometimes, all it takes is being in the wrong place at the wrong time for everything to change. Your career, your health, your future. That's why so many voices online came to the same hard conclusion after the incident. The smartest thing an artist can do is leave their city. The reasoning is simple. In your hometown, everyone knows your story. They know your block, your old crew, your come up, your flaws, your business, everything. Even if you move past that life, others might not see it that way. To them, your success can feel like a reminder of what they didn't achieve. And that can turn admiration into envy real quick. In another city, you move differently. You don't get too comfortable because you don't know who's who. You stay alert, cautious, and focused on business. But at home, that comfort can become your biggest trap. It makes you drop your guard. And dropping your guard can turn into disaster before you even realize what's happening. In the days after the shooting, the conversation shifted from what happened to what it meant. Not just for Z the Wizard's recovery, but for the entire New Dallas movement, for BigXThaPlug, and for the culture surrounding Dallas hip-hop itself. Z the Wizard was still on life support. His family stayed firm in their message. He was fighting, they were hopeful, and they were asking everyone to pray and give them space. The hospital was still under tight security, with Dallas PD controlling the flow of people and turning away crowds that kept showing up trying to get updates. Even extended family members couldn't always get in to see him. The situation stayed intense and emotions in the city were running high. BigX. The Plug, who had just been celebrating with Z that same night, hadn't spoken much publicly. The viral clip showing his shocked reaction outside the club was still everywhere, circulating across every platform. That moment, him leaning against a car, frozen in disbelief, had become the face of the whole tragedy. The confusion, the heartbreak, the disbelief, all captured in one raw moment that the internet couldn't stop replaying. Meanwhile, the investigation wasn't giving people much to go on. Dallas police continued to say that the situation started from an altercation, but they didn't release any new updates about suspects, motives, or arrests. Everything stayed vague, leaving fans in the community with more questions than answers. Whether anyone would eventually be charged or held accountable was still completely up in the air. For the New Dallas movement, this moment became their biggest test yet. The whole point of their movement was to show that a new generation of Dallas artists could rise up without repeating the same mistakes that tore the last generation apart. They wanted to prove that unity, not division, was the way forward, that they could collaborate, support each other, and push Dallas rap to new heights without all the violence and old grudges dragging them down. Whether it was just some dumb argument that broke out in the club, something that had nothing to do with Z the Wizard's music or who he rolled with, or whether it was something deeper and targeted, the message was the same. Violence can find anybody, no matter how careful you try to move. If it was random, it showed that no one is truly safe from chaos. But if it was connected to his rising success, his affiliations, or some hidden grudge, it proved that even artists trying to stay positive can't always escape the pull of the streets. The hip-hop community reacted in the way it always does after something like this, with shock, sadness, and the same heartbreaking cycle of tributes, calls for peace, and questions about how to stop this kind of tragedy from happening again. Artists, fans, and executives flooded social media with love for Z the Wizard, while others demanded answers about venue security, event safety, and the risks that come with the rap lifestyle. Torrance Burnett's earlier comments suddenly hit even harder. He said what so many people in the industry have been thinking for years. If you're chasing this rap dream, you've got to understand what success really means. And that includes planning to move away from the environments that can drag you down. Because sometimes staying close to where you started can become the very thing that stops you from getting where you're going. Z. The Wizard was already on that path to success. He had the label deal, the recognition, and the kind of potential that could have taken him beyond Dallas. Touring nationally, stacking money, and setting his whole family up for a better life. He was right at the edge of something big, and that's what made what happened so tragic. The shooting stopped all that momentum at the exact moment everything was starting to click. The story also threw new light on Big X, the plug's own history and how closely fame and danger can overlap in the rap world. In 2025, he'd already caught 2 separate cases, one in February and one in August, for weed possession and having a firearm on him. Neither charge had anything to do with violence, but it showed how thin the line can be for rappers trying to move legit in a state like Texas, where weed is still illegal and carrying while holding can easily get you caught up. Now, Big X, the plug, had survived a terrifying night that could have gone much worse. He made it out physically untouched, but you could see from that viral footage, he was shaken to the core. His entire career had been built on keeping it real about life in the streets, but that night, the street life showed him its darkest side, right in front of his eyes, as someone he cared about was left fighting for his life. As New Year's Day 2026 turned into the rest of the month, the conversation started shifting. The immediate chaos began to fade, replaced by bigger, heavier questions. Was Zai the Wizard going to recover? Would the people responsible ever be identified and held accountable? And what would happen to the New Dallas movement? The movement built on unity, positivity, and brotherhood. Now that one of its brightest stars had been taken down so suddenly, nobody had clear answers. There never are when situations like this happen. All that remained was the footage. Big X, the plug, standing outside that club in the early morning hours, realizing what had just gone down. His face said everything: confusion, disbelief, pain, and then those words that the world couldn't stop replaying. They got Z in the head. That raw, emotional moment became the symbol of everything that night represented. A celebration that turned into chaos, a friendship torn apart, and a dream put on pause. That short clip spread everywhere, reposted, reshared, remixed, like everything does on the internet now. It became viral content instead of a tragedy, something to react to instead of reflect on. A night that was supposed to mark the start of a new year, a new chapter, and a new wave for Dallas music instead ended in heartbreak and endless reposts. For the people at the heart of this story, Z the Wizard fighting for his life in that hospital bed, his family holding vigil by his side, and Big X the plug still trying to process everything he witnessed, that viral clip wasn't content. It wasn't just another trending post or shareable moment. It was their real lives. Every second of that night changed them forever, and no amount of clicks or views could capture what that kind of pain truly feels like. This whole situation reminds us that behind every headline and viral video, there are real people living through something heavy. Their pain isn't entertainment, it's reality, and it deserves respect. If you're rocking with the story and want to stay updated on what's next, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on those notifications and we'll catch you in the next video.